Whether your beer is in a bottle, can, or glass, kick back and relax. It's Better on Draft.
That is right. It is the craft beer news segment of Better on Draft. My name is Ken. Thank you so much for joining us on this Friday night. Folks, we record Friday night, every Friday night, live, 7:15 p.m. Eastern, followed by the craft beer news after the interview segment. Thank you so much for Matty O joining us from Fiddlehead Brewing over in Shelburne, Vermont. Let's go around and see what everybody is drinking, starting with Wendy. Wendy, what do you got?
I am drinking a Dew Claw Brewing Opportunity Awaits. And of course, on deck, I have a Mad Elf because it is that time of year.
I just exploded the third can of juicy Juno juice that I just opened. Dan, what do you got? And make it long.
How are those IPAs going for you, first off?
The Juno juices are very, very good.
Oh, okay. So everyone heard that. Ken enjoys IPAs.
I enjoy the Juno juice. I do have a can of the Icy Bay IPA from Alaskan that I'm trying to finish as well. So
next time you say you don't like IPAs, we're just going to play a recording of you saying that IPA is really good.
I'll just make sure I start saying I don't like most IPAs.
Yeah, but you already said you don't like IPAs. It's not like we can't get that. Anyways, I've got a bacon and egg still from Pizza Port and then Val Pace from La Cumbre. You still cleaning up over there?
I realized I have absolutely nothing to clean it up with. So
I mean, you have a shirt, so
I do have a shirt. That is for sure.
That is what happens.
Yes.
Well, I would like to throw a shout out to my parents real quick for muling this Trogs beer back for me on their way back into town from their West Coast excursion, I guess I would call it.
Hell yeah. Shout out to Wendy's parents.
It's always good to have people that love you.
Yes,
and will bring you beer.
That's the most important part. Who cares if they love you or not? If they'll bring you beer, it's...
Well, if they love me, they will bring me beer.
I will still always tell the story. My father, this is before New Belgium sent their beer here to Michigan. My father was in Colorado, and on his last day in Colorado, he went to the New Belgium brewery, got a growler filled, put it on ice, drove it back to Michigan, and I had as fresh as you could get. It was only 2 days old from the stream itself over in New Belgium. Fat Tire posted on Facebook. Got some fresh Fat Tire from a growler, and sure enough, my friend showed up at my doorstep no more than 15 minutes later, like, oh, here you have Fat Tire.
Hell yeah.
It's still one of the funniest things ever. It's a remembering to not post everything on social media, because then people will drink your beer.
True story.
That's what I learned on that. With the craft beer news segment, each of us bring an article to talk about. Let's start with Wendy. Wendy, what do you want to talk about today?
Well, I found an article that talks about a little bit of a disagreement, is the word, a debate going on in the beer industry right now. I got the article from probrewer.com. Apparently, there is a rising debate triggered by Berkeley Yeast, a California yeast supplier who has indicated that it can remove or add certain genes based on flavor preference to their yeast. An example that they gave was Tropics yeast, which was created to provide the taste of passion fruit and guava. The company claims that the yeast is better than adding adjuncts such as artificial flavors and is more reliable than requiring constant supply of certain fruits. Better on Draft episode 298 guest Omega Yeast got a shout out in the article because they recently revealed that they had discovered a specific gene that helps cause hazy beer, but that's a whole other story. The debate here comes in because apparently the U.S. has way more relaxed regulations on the use of genetically modified foods than the rest of the world. So there is some dissension to the fact that people are using genetically modified yeast. Apparently, U.S. brewers using gene-edited yeast in their products is a secret that everyone in the industry already knew about. Some, like Jeremy Marshall, the head brewer at Lagunitas Brewing, says that the yeast gets filtered out, so nothing genetically modified gets into the final product, just the flavor compounds, which are little bags of enzymes. Others have a strict no GM policy, choosing to stick with traditional cross-pollination methods of advancement. My favorite part of the whole story was that Marshall noted, the holy grail of what yeast makers like Berkeley want to do is engineer an IPA that stays fresh forever, tastes consistent everywhere you go, and its hops never go old. So what is your opinion of this? Should we be watching out for genetically modified ingredients? Will it influence your beer choice? What say you?
Dan?
Oh, okay. I didn't know you were going to first. Sorry. Yeah, I'm all for it. Like they said at Lagunitas, the yeast doesn't stain your beer. Everything we eat, food's not the same as it was 10,000 years ago. Everything's been modified in some way, shape, or form. So if this is the next level, or this is the next step to make beer, and like you said, where the hops don't fall off and you don't have to have a constant supply of fresh fruit, fresh hops, hop cones, those type of things that are difficult to get at times, depending on where you are, this is a great way to go about it. I don't see what the issue is.
I can go first before I respond to that.
Yeah, I'm going to be in the same camp as Dan. I think in a world of one, wanting to make the same beer, throughout the years, to look at the shit show that we had during the COVID years of craft beer trying to get ingredients across, international borders, even national borders, even state borders, having the ability to have a flavor profile that you can create from the yeast. I think one will give you maybe I would say give homebrewers a little bit more leeway to make the beer that they want to make, especially if I'm a home brewer and I can make a beer that lasts longer because I don't drink my home brews as fast as I drink other beers. That's a great thing for me. That's a great selling point. That's a thing where I would pay more money for that, because now I know my 48 bottles of my amber ale clone from Bell's will last a decent amount of time, to where now I can share it with friends and family and not have to drink it to drink it. And that was kind of like a bad thing for me is that I made an English mild that I loved, but I didn't always want an English mild. I wanted something else, and I wouldn't drink it as fast as I would other beers. And it just kind of like sat there. So give me something that can, make it easier for me to brew, because I'm not a scientist. Give me proper steps, like making a recipe. Great. Perfect. And I think for the brewers, they're not going to necessarily use it and abuse it the way that home brewers would. So I think this is going to be an overall benefit for the consumer, the home brewer, and the brewer itself to be able to, make it. God forbid if something happened and, like, say Old Nation announced like tart strawberry and then they couldn't get their strawberries, or they couldn't get that one ingredient. Now they're SOL. And that's going to piss off a lot of people. Whereas now I can have a yeast strain that's going to give me that taste, tart strawberry flavor, and I don't have to worry about certain ingredients not making it.
So I tend to agree with what both of you said. I did do a little bit of digging because I wanted to see what the difference is between cross-pollinating and hybrid plants as opposed to genetic modification, because if you talk to a farmer, they'll tell you all food is genetically modified in some way because you're cross-pollinating things and you're breeding things to make them better. So apparently where the dissent lies is it has something to do with kind of the butterfly effect, because they don't know when you take a gene out or change where a gene is in the sequence, they don't know how that's going to react in our bodies later. There isn't enough research on it before they start releasing it. So I think that's where a lot of the concern lies when it comes to things like that. I don't know either way. I think I'm all for beer tasting good. So I have to trust people that know what they're doing to do that, because I don't do it myself.
I mean, how many within the ingredients that we're even using today, the yeast strains, the barley, the malt, the hops and stuff, like all of these things are going to have touched some type of, as you said, genetically modified version of it. You're not getting, hops from the same hop farm every time. Is it going to be the same? Is it going to act the same? Is it going to grow the same? Are they not doing anything to prevent weather anomalies that could kill their crop for the entire year and ruin their, livelihood? There's too many things right now that already exist in the world of GMOs that this is just a step to create more beer better. And I'm for it.
Yeah. If you eat or drink anything, it's already been modified. It doesn't matter how. Like I said earlier, you're not eating the same food from 10,000 years ago. It doesn't matter what you do. So I think they might be overthinking it just a little bit.
We still live in an industry where people are like, if your beer is not right Heizgebot, then it is not good.
Well, those guys also fall into the CBYs. So
I would say EBYs, European beer Yeezuses.
Oh, yeah. Maybe there's not a lot of them in the U.S., but yeah.
Yeah, I don't see too many people with our, seltzer smoothie, smooge, and milkshake IPA, double guava, that doesn't exist really here in the United States. Sure, there's probably going to be people that care about it, or the people that want like the beer flavored beer. But yeah, I don't really see too many people here in the US, except for people that quote unquote, that care about having GMOs in their food, that are shopping at the Whole Foods or the Trader Joe's or wherever you can get non-GMO food. And that's like still a game where you're guessing as much, it might say non-GMO because whatever FDA regulation that they followed is non-GMO, but the 10 steps before were GMO. But yeah, I mean, Wendy, what do you don't, if you could make a beer that was consistent at home, this gives you a lot more leniency and leeway. Would you start home brewing?
Well, I have tried home brewing, not very successfully so far. So, based on all the brewers that we've talked to since I have been hosting on the show with you guys, I'm right on track to be a brewer in like 30 years. So
keep practicing. That's all I'm going to tell you. Keep practicing. Don't give it up.
What I've learned over the time is they have all of them to say that their first batch was not good.
Yeah, just keep going.
Mine didn't even turn out. I'm going to have to get one of my homebrew friends to come over and show me where I'm taking the wrong steps before I can say something like that. But yeah, if I could do it consistently, I would probably do it on my own.
And getting the ingredients is, half the battle. So having this like a yeast strain that can help you, where now you only have to worry about, the hops and the malt and not the adjuncts. Perfect. If you can get this in cider and mead and getting all these qualifications to where now I don't have to spend $800 on a bottle of Schramm's mead.
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought up mead, because that's actually where my mind went to, because it is a much longer process than beer. So for example, if you wanted to make like a blueberry blackberry mead, and having something that could give that flavor without having to dump a ton of puree and then getting the mead out of that, and not having to back sweeten it. So all that sugar, when you put that yeast in, that sugar goes away. I think the one thing you're going to run into there is, it's going to be a traditional mead color versus that, dark color someone would look like for those flavors. But if you can do that and cut down the time, cut down the mess and the cost, I think it'd be an amazing type of thing.
Well, Dan, I'll pass it to you. What do you want to talk about today?
All right. So I've got this article. We're not going to go into the story of why, but it's going to lead to a question for you guys. So Bud Light brewers are confident it can win back U.S. drinkers, but sales are still down after the backlash. We all know that story. We covered it in depth. While their revenue worldwide was up 5%, in the U.S. it tumbled 13.5%. and their dollar sales are down 29%. We've talked about the story, beat it to death back in when it all happened. We're not going to go there, but here's my thing. So they think they can win beer drinkers back. It doesn't seem like they are. We all know Modelo, it's Modelo time 24/7 now. That's taken over in a really big way. So what I want to ask both of you, like Bud Light thinks they can win you back. If you are turned off by a brewery or by a specific beer, are they able to win you back down the road? Ken, I'm going to start with you.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that is Founders.
Okay.
I have not touched a Founders in 5 years, 4 years, 5 years. And could they win me back? The answer is yes.
I was going to say, you have laid out what they could do, and I'll have you go into this, but you've laid out what they can do to get you back.
Yeah, for me as a consumer, and for many people as a consumer, especially in the Metro Detroit area. Obviously, everything's a little bit different depending on where you are, but in the Metro Detroit area, one of the head brewers, founders, owners promised something to the local. I'm hearing TV or somebody in the background. So one of the things they promised is that they would have a sit down with the local black beer community, which we have in Detroit called the Brews Brothers. They've been on the show plenty of times. You can go check them out. Go check out our Drinking While Black episodes, and you'll kind of understand the story a little bit more. And after they promised that, and I'm guessing this was a lawyer thing, where the lawyer told them that don't do that, and they reneged on it. And since then, that's really the one thing they need to do is finish that commitment for me.
And you'd be popping open a CBS as soon as it's done?
Oh, I do it during it. I would drink my Centennial. I loved Centennial. You guys remember that? That was like my only IPA beer that I would drink is Centennial. And if they were to do that, hell yeah, I'd open it up, because that was a very important thing to the black beer community here in Michigan. A very important thing for them to address during the whole racial lawsuit issue. But in the end, we've given them actually, and I won't say who we've talked to, but we've given them extra times to have this sit down. We've given them opportunity to say we will facilitate the sit down, and this is not in front of a microphone, not in front of a camera. This is literally just at a table, nobody recording, not for a podcast, not for a show, not for content, not for media. Just finish what you promised by sitting down with the Brews Brothers and having that conversation. You have that conversation, you win me back. For a lot of these people that are anti-Bud Light, they want something like that. They want that apology, admittance to what they feel is Bud Light's fault, problem, issue, wrongdoing. So I think a lot of people in this world, like, if you have your conviction, you have your belief, everybody should have the ability to, come back to the table. You should give everyone that ability to come back to the table. But, making it apparent. And I think Bud Light drinkers have made it apparent what they want, former Bud Light drinkers, just as we in Metro Detroit have made our opinion of what we want to come back to Founders. Founders believes that they don't need us. And Budweiser believes that their drinkers that left will come back no matter what, or they'll deal with it with other products in their line.
Well, and I personally believe that Bud Light didn't handle it properly, not only in saying, hey, we did this wrong, but by the way they handled the situation, the people that they were targeting to try to get to win over to them were like, well, why would we come to you? You don't care. We were throwaways as soon as you got the chance. So I just think they handled it incorrectly all around. And I think there's too many things out there for drinkers to want. I think a lot of people that left Bud Light are also the drinkers that are going to go to your RTDs and your seltzers and things like that. They're the ones who, a lot of the people who are leaving are also people who don't necessarily want to drink that beer. So I don't think that they're going to be able to win. They might be able to win a portion of them back, the people who just liked Bud Light for Bud Light. But I don't think they'd be able to win back the other people because there's just too many things out there. There's no reason to drink it now.
Yeah, I think that with Budweiser, and I'll pass it back to Dan here in a moment to get his thoughts on this, but with Budweiser, Bud Light, Anheuser Busch as an organization, they kind of just pissed off everybody. They upset the people that they, tried to target by tossing aside the entire content and everything like that. Like, whatever, we're just going to go back, before we lose too many customers. So you lost everyone you were targeting, plus you lost your customers. And then you really don't do anything to address the situation. And again, what I feel personally about what they need to do or not to do to address the situation is irrelevant. It didn't affect me in any way possible other than all of their actions were the Royal, their Budweiser actions were terrible. But Dan, I'm curious what you think.
Yeah. So it's funny you mention that because one of the things they started doing right after this is all of a sudden going back to commercials with pickup trucks, flannel, country music, like, oh, this is who we are. This is, these are our people all of a sudden. But the reality is, and Wendy, you kind of touched on this, but, I think a lot of people that were drinking Bud Light didn't know there were other beers out there. They probably thought all beer was the same. They were drinking Bud Light. We know the typical Bud Light drinker. And then they're finding things like Modelo, and it actually tastes way better. If you have to drink that style of beer, something like a Modelo, even a Miller Lite is like way better than a Bud Light. So I don't think they're going to go back just because now they found something way better that they enjoy. Similar style, they're not switching to an Imperial Porter or anything like that. I think they've lost them now because their beer is just trash. It started with, stop polarizing everyone. The worst thing you can do when you're in business is polarizing one set of people and chasing away another. You want to be able to sell to everyone. And they unfortunately went that route where they knew they were probably going to upset a good customer base. And now I don't think they can get them back just based off of finding better things.
And when you're I don't think they believed the amount of people that one drank Bud Light were in that category and two would stop drinking and commit to stop drinking. Cause this wasn't just like a 1 week or 1 month boycott. Like this is lasting.
Going.
I don't know if you guys thought the same. I did not think it was gonna to last this long. I thought it was gonna be a month or two of we'll drink Miller Lite or we'll drink Mick Ultra and not realize that it's still Anheuser Busch. I am the conviction people have shown, but I think Wendy hit the nail on the head. People realize there's other beer out there and they realized it's not that much more expensive, if at all, and they can go drink it
so much better.
Yeah. I think Budweiser will, I don't think they'll take over the number one spot anytime soon. I think they're doing their best to get back in. Like they just sponsored UFC. I think they're the UFC.
They did.
Beer now.
People started boycotting that. So we'll see what happens with UFC now too.
Yeah, that's the thing is that people, when that happened, they're like, hey, no, why would you do this? Do you not know? But I don't know what to tell you. This is one of those weird things where it really struck a chord with people for the promotion that Budweiser did earlier this year, and people are just not too happy about it.
It basically comes down to don't try to alienate anyone who would is your customer. Be for everyone. You don't have to promote one thing or another, I think is what it comes down to.
I mean, I don't think Budweiser really thought a single post on somebody's, because all this was, the entire deal was a single post on somebody else's Instagram. That was it. There was no commercials. There was no marketing ad blitz or anything like that. It was a single post promo on somebody's Instagram, and then it just went to shit.
Hundreds of other people that they deal with. It was just the fact that a celebrity brought it to the forefront and made a big deal about it is really what it came down to. I didn't even know who that person was.
I don't think any of us
until this
did.
happened. So, I mean, he brought it to light and he made a big deal about it, and that's what blew it up. It didn't have anything to do with that one post, because a couple thousand people might have seen it.
Yeah, in the community that the social media influencer resides in.
Right.
Like, they were the only ones that were going to see it. And then the person, the guy you mentioned that saw it, reposted it, and then boom, explosion. I mean, I wish I could get a social media post to explode like that, good or bad. That's
right?
enough.
I can't get over 200 people to like mine.
Yeah, what am I trying to say? All publicity is good publicity, good or bad. So
yeah. I think in the end, this isn't going to kill Budweiser. This isn't going to kill Anheuser Busch.
It's not going to kill the company at all, but will it kill Bud Light in the US? It seems like it's
no.
You don't think so?
Kill? No.
All right, maybe not kill is a bad word, but their market share is going way down still.
Maybe like amputate the foot because you just gave it diabetes. Sure.
Diabetes.
Kill? No. So my topic, as we've talked about plenty of, if you guys remember, we actually had the little trivia message where like all of these different alcohol products sponsored by celebrities. Two Roads Brewing over in Stratford, Connecticut is doing a Guy Fieri drink.
Oh.
It is a spiked fruit punch. This is a FMB. Is going to be the Flavortown fruit punch, 6% ABV, sponsored by, of course, Guy Fieri. I'm guessing there's going to be plenty of it in all the shows like diners, drive-ins, and dives where he can
be drinking it while he drives the Camaro.
I think he's just going to find it. You're going to see it at every single dive bar for some reason. Like, oh wow, this one dive bar actually has my drink. Crazy.
One dive bar in North Dakota.
Oh, they'll definitely be using it on Triple G.
Oh, guys,
they'll have to make 3 different recipes.
Oh yeah, they will.
It's like, I don't know what Triple G is, but now I get
a fun
it.
Show.
Triple G, Triple G. I am a huge Guy Fieri fan. Just so you know,
you're a big. Are you going to get his FMB when it?
I will try it. I'm not going to lie.
That's right up Wendy's alley. She always talks about that.
Yes. So if I'm flipping through the channels and one of his shows is on, I will watch it whether I've seen it or not. It's ridiculous. I know, but I love the shows. He cracks me up.
I don't think I've ever watched any of his shows.
Oh, it's worth it. Like Triple D is a great show. You can just watch that for hours.
I have a whole list of places that I want to see based on watching that show. Like I'll be sitting there and I'll just add it into my phone after I watch him at wherever he's at.
There's a few times where like people will put up, when we went to Denver, there's a little dive joint that everybody knows about that is right over by like downtown Denver area, and that place is always packed, and we've tried to get in the few times I've been to Denver over the past few years. But I know my uncle's a big fan, and I know he like will, anytime he goes anywhere, he'll see what was on diners, drive-ins, and dives, and then go there because it was on the show for sure. I feel like the only show that's like close to that I've watched is, I used to watch Man vs. Food all the time.
Oh, it's a great show.
And of course, Dan knows that I am a sucker for Bar Rescue.
Oh, I love that show too.
So
Great show.
those are like the only two shows that I'll watch in the restaurant industry portion
like,
of things.
Bobby Flay's The Titan one too.
Is that a cooking
And beat
show?
Bobby Flay. I like Bobby Flay too. He's fun to watch.
Beat
I know
Bobby
he's-
Flay's a fun show.
Yeah. The
So-
fact that everybody just rips on him the whole time, I think
Yeah.
is hilarious. And that he just takes it and is like, okay, whatever. Sometimes he'll rip back. Sometimes he's just like, you're right. I think it's hilarious. I did go to I was in Atlanta. We went to the Worst Bar because one of my friends told us we need to go there when he saw that I was in Atlanta. So we went there, and probably 2 years later, I was watching Triple D on some other trip, and I'm like, God, that place looks so familiar. And then they brought out their homemade corn dogs, and I was like, I've been there. That was fun. I'm like, I know that. That's what we had.
Gary on our Facebook page is saying woo girls in Savannah and Nashville are happy. I'm guessing those are obviously the aforementioned girls who go to a bar and go woo.
Yes.
Where did that
They
even
scream.
come from?
I know a reference from How I Met Your Mother, and this is where Matt Bush would come like with an entire breakdown of the entire episode of Woo Girls from How I Met Your Mother.
I could probably give you that breakdown, but I'm going to refrain.
I mean, I was a huge How I Met Your Mother fan. I think Dan was in this car ride. So Rob, former host Rob, did a special event for How I Met Your Mother trivia from Sporkle, and I got every question but one right on the entire drive. And I'm like, oh, I know too much about this show. I've watched too much of it. So my obviously I was bringing this up as news, and my question to you guys is that is there a TV personality that you would want to sponsor or bring out? Like, is there one that would come out that you would have to go get? Obviously, Wendy, you're a big Guy Fieri fan, so this is up your alley. Is there a different TV personality that you might be like, oh, I'll go buy their FMB, their beverage or something like that? Like, honestly, I would go if Neil Patrick Harris did something. Speaking of How I Met Your Mother, if NPH did something, I would probably go be like, oh, I'll go buy it. And I'm trying to think of Zachary Quinto. All of his work that he's done in the American Horror Story series, like just great stuff. So yeah, I would go get like a Zachary Quinto beer or beverage or something like that. But Wendy, do you have a TV personality?
I don't know. Go to Dan first. Let me think about it a minute.
All right. So this is totally going to polarize everyone. If Greg Gutfeld and Tyrus got together and did a beer, I'd drink it all day.
So Tyrus is a professional wrestler, which
Retired pro wrestler.
Didn't he just fight like someone like a month ago?
Yeah, dropped the belt and retired.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I guess he's retired now.
He fought EC3.
I saw the match. It was not very good.
No, he was done, and he got a blood clot in that match somehow.
Ooh,
Mm-hmm.
that's dangerous. Yeah. So those are political personalities.
Those are they're TV show hosts.
Yeah,
those are my choices.
Wendy.
No, I can't really think of anything.
Guy Fieri. There you go.
Yeah, I mean,
What if Bobby
I
Flay
would,
did a beer?
Oh, I would try it. Are you kidding? He's amazing when it comes to flavors and stuff, from what I understand. I would love to. I want to go to one of his restaurants or something, because from what I hear, like, he's amazing. So if he can cook that way, chances are he could probably make a beer.
I feel like there's a lot of people out there that would some of the more reality TV, like a Real Housewives, like if one of them made a rosé or alcoholic drink,
be involved in that in any way.
They have one of those, isn't it? That Skinny Girl vodka came from one of the Real Housewives.
Did it really?
Yeah.
I was just like, I wonder what kind of, like, or what about like Survivor? Like if you made like a Survivor beer or a Survivor whiskey or something like that.
I don't know. I feel like that would be more like prison whiskey or whatever they call it. on Survivor, like
toilet whiskey.
they're making it. They're making it over the campfire. I mean, how?
No, all you need is someone who like embodies someone who would drink whiskey. You don't necessarily need someone who's drinking whiskey, but someone who embodies it. Like if you had what was the guy who used to do the Old Spice commercial? Like I was about to say Isaac Hayes. No, but pre-Terry Crews.
Look at me. I'm on a
yeah. Yeah, like if that guy did like a drink, like I think a lot of people, like if you gave like that body type on Survivor, like you could easily sell something for sure. Or what's the Bachelorette?
Oh God! You think that it would
I don't know how to watch
this?
Listen, here I'm talking.
Armageddon's about to come on. You know, Barmageddon's going to make a beer.
Wait, Barmageddon or Armageddon? Are we
Barmageddon? It's on after Raw.
So not
Mondays.
Bruce Willis.
No.
Ben Affleck.
No. It's like Carson
Liv
Daly.
Taylor.
Like Carson Daly and that country singer and someone else.
Carson Daly and that country singer.
That country singer. That country singer.
Who's the country singer?
Blake Shelton.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
The one that married that blonde chick.
Gwen Stefani, right? Or not Gwen Stefani, the other one. Christina Aguilera.
No, he married
it Gwen
Stefani? It was Gwen Stefani.
Oh. They all look the same. All those blondes. Who cares?
There's so many things that's going on right now. First of all, I didn't know there was a show called Barmageddon. Second of all, I'm seeing there's like professional wrestlers on there. Obviously, since it followed, WWE Raw, that makes a lot of sense. And that country singer, Blake Shelton.
That country singer. I'm going to call him that from now on.
Yeah, he was married to that one other country singer.
Who's that?
Miranda Lambert.
I have no idea who that is.
I'm on Wikipedia right now. I'm going to be honest. I'm not even sure about anything. Like you said that country singer, you said Blake Shelton. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's the guy from The Voice. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's how he married Gwen Stefani, was knowing her from The Voice. And I'm pretty sure they were like both married before they there were some broken marriages on that one.
Sounds like 2023. Yeah.
We are way off topic, so we're going to finish the show. Folks, thank you so much for listening to us every Friday, 7:15 p.m. Eastern. We will be back next week with Great Lakes Brewing.
Sweet.
And of course, starting on Black Friday, which is the 24th, we will have our new host of the Better on Draft podcast. For those of you that haven't noticed, Dennis is no longer with us. He took a new job and in turn was unable to start the show.
Shout out to Dennis for tying the record.
Yes, he tied the Brew Locker and Tara.
Yeah.
And Tara. That's going to do it. Better on Draft podcast. Better on Draft on all the social medias. No matter what you think of your beer, we think it's Better on Draft. Have a good night.
Cheers. And Trogs, we're looking for you.